Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Hey, welcome. It is time for Naturally Inspired Radio. So glad you're joining me today. We're a little late. I don't know what's going on with the whole Amazon thing. I have been underground for the weekend, trying to just replenish myself a little bit. And then I came up today, if you will, and I've been in assessments and working with people all morning. So I just caught wind of when Jason said we're about to go live, but we're having problems with our platform. So he filled me in real quick and said there's been issues with Amazon, I guess. And so that's been a lot of websites have gone down. That's all I know about that. I'm so uninformed on that issue right now. So anyway, apparently that's why we're late. And hopefully we won't experience any further interruption. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I had a great weekend. I'm looking at myself in this and my hair is so dark. Right? You probably will notice. This is the real me. This is me without highlights. This is my real hair color, born and raised. But I love to drop some highlights in my hair for summer, but I've been doing it too much. And I was doing it too much. How would I know I was doing it too much? Somebody commented that I was a blonde lady. And I was like, huh? What? I am not a blonde lady. Apparently I had turned into a blonde lady. Anyway, I just don't feel like a blonde lady. No shade to blonde ladies. I mean, you're the cream of the crop for sure. But me personally, I've never identified as a blonde lady, and it struck me kind of odd that someone was calling me a blonde lady. So when I went in to get my hair done this weekend, I was like, man, let's go back. And then some of the blonde will come back naturally, as it bleeds through and all that stuff. I don't know. That's what my hairdresser tells me anyways. I just let her do her thing. I say, just do what you think. Here, I want to go darker because I'm, this is going too blonde. So do your thing. And she does her thing. She's been doing her thing on my hair for so many years. So I just let her do that. So anyway, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, holy man, I am really dark. But I bet you anything it starts to come through again here in a few days. Anyway, I like it. So that was what I did this weekend. I took a little self-care weekend, which I enjoyed. It was beautiful outside, a little windy. It is actually very windy here in northern Colorado today. Very windy. So the leaves are blowing all over the place. My little kitties are not happy. They're hiding in the barn. They didn't even want to come out today. And the cows are laying down because that's what larger animals do when it's windy. They just go, meh, we're going to lay down. We're going to get out of the wind and lay down. So everybody's laying it down. But the sun is out and the sky is blue, which I'm grateful for. Today's daily topic. So you know me, I always talk about something that I think is kind of shaping culture at the time. And this topic came to me probably, last week, in the last couple weeks. And then, today I'm thinking, we really have a lot of work to do when it comes to the allopathic model of medicine and understanding what it's done to our belief system, what it's done to how we look at medicine, how we think of what is health. We really have a lot of work because it's profound in the way it impacts the choices that we make. It's controlling culture. It's controlling health culture. The allopathic model, and if you're around my age or a little older or around this era of growing up kind of in the 80s and 90s, and even before, really, I think it started more in the 70s. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You have been propagandized to. You have been advertised to become a consumer of the healthcare model. And it's not healthcare, it's actually disease care. And so we don't even realize it. We don't even realize it because every year, slowly, they're building your belief, this commercial, that commercial. You hear a story from someone, it becomes the way of life. And unfortunately, this medical model, this culture, it actually leads to dis-ease in the body. And so that's why it's so important that Naturally Inspired and anybody else who's working on real solutions for health, right? Exposing real solutions for health, keep spreading the message, because that's the only way we're going to break out of this control. And the control is, you need a pharmaceutical to fix everything. You need a procedure to fix everything. You need the medical model to heal. Maybe sometimes in emergency medicine, yeah, you may need the medical model for sure. But I don't know what we're going to call this new thing, because it's really hard for people to separate from the allopathic model. So yeah, I don't know what we're going to call it. Is it a healthcare model? Is it just, it's really just living. It's healthy living. It's healthy living. That's what, you're understanding what it is to curate a lifestyle that brings you the health results that you want. And, but man, I don't know, I'll explain better, but it is this, we are so programmed to accept the allopathic model, the pharmaceutical model, that it's really people are stunned. How could that possibly be, so let me just give you some examples. So I'll be talking to somebody just randomly. I'm not pinpointing anybody. This is like a collective of everybody I talk to say, I'm not on any medications. Oh, really? That's awesome. You're not on any medications. Nope. I'm not on any medications. Okay, awesome. And then we spend a little bit more time together. Well, I do take, a PPI for heartburn, or I do take Aleve, or I do take, an anti-anxiety medication from time to time, but not every day. Oh, I am on birth control. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we've become so conditioned to using pharmaceuticals, that we forget we're using them because we don't even classify them as like medications, but our body does. Our body most definitely does. And so it's nobody's fault. I'm just saying that the culture that we live in has programmed us to think like things like Aleve or any other NSAID or Tylenol. It's not a medication. It's just, well, if you can get it in a store, it's not really a medication, is it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And your body responds to it accordingly. But we've just like forgotten about this. I want to share with you a quick clip here. This is a gal who is, this is a Maha podcast, and she's got quite a big following, I guess, on Twitter and or X. And she's talking about psychiatric meds here. And I thought this was very important. So let's take a listen to it.
Give some numbers to that. Right now, according to the CDC, and a very conservative 4-year-old estimate at this point, there are about 65 million Americans on some kind of psychiatric drug. So that's basically 1 in 4 adults, 1 in 10 kids. These numbers have skyrocketed over the decades, not coincidentally in lockstep with the expansion of the psychopharmaceutical industry and direct consumer advertising and all that comes with that. And so we're really in the midst of a massive social experiment right now, because most of the people on these drugs, and again, that's tens upon tens of millions of us, are on them for not days, weeks, or months, but oftentimes years, despite the fact that there's actually no evidence base for long-term use. And many people are on these multiple of these drugs at a time, despite the fact that these drugs have never been studied in combination with each other. So essentially, we're all guinea pigs here in this long-term psychiatric medication experiment.
I love what she's talking about here, because here's the truth of the matter here. Many of our drugs, which we don't even think twice about, things like birth control, they have black box warnings. And black box warnings are the highest designation you can get for safety. They are meant to be used short term and last resort. And we don't even get told that. Stay tuned, everybody. This is Naturally Inspired Radio, and we'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Did you know Naturally Inspired Radio streams on over 100 plus platforms, video, podcast, social media, Radio. Just search your favorite platform for Tammy Cuthbert Garcia or Naturally Inspired Radio. We're everywhere you listen, watch, and connect. Help us. We would like you to help us spread the word. So like us on YouTube, leave us a comment on YouTube. That helps the algorithm pick it up, and you know how heavily censored we are. So that would be so grateful. We'd be so grateful to you if you do that. Follow us on the channel, leave a comment in the chat, and don't forget to visit naturallyinspiredradio.com anywhere, anytime for the full list of where we're featured online and on radio. We appreciate your support. It is the only way we're growing. I laugh because I don't want to cry, but it really is the only way we're growing. You're telling your friends about us, and I'm getting assessments booked from your friends. Your friends are following us on X. Your friends are following us on Rumble, and I have you to thank for that. So thank you so much for supporting Naturally Inspired. Together, we are going to change the medical model. All right, let's get back to our culture control topic of today, which is, of course, health and this disease care model. I was talking about medications and the fact that we barely recognize a lot of these things have black box warnings. If you don't know what a black box warning is, you can just look it up. It is a couple things has to go into determining a designation like a black box warning. And what it's telling us is that one, it should be used as a last resort. If a drug has a black box warning, that should indicate to the provider that this should be used as a last resort type of intervention. Second thing is it should be used short term until you get the patient to a certain point where you can get them off it, switch to something else. Have you ever even heard this before? Because when I first started this work, I had never heard of that before. And we're talking about very everyday medications. I guarantee you somebody you know, if you yourself haven't used them or know somebody that is using them. Okay, it's too long a list to read here. The black box warning. Many birth controls have black box warning. Many antidepressants have black box warnings. Sleep medications. Like, I highly recommend you do the research on the medications and find out if it has a black box warning. And then if it has a black box warning, I would take it right back to that practitioner who prescribed it to you and said, what's the end in mind with this? Because this has a black box warning and I've been on it. Sometimes people have been on these things for decades and they have no idea that it has a black box warning. Then other things start popping up in their health and there's no correlation because they've been on it for so long. And I know it because I talk to people all the time who have been on maybe blood pressure medication or, who knows, whatever assortment of pills. And I'll say, well, did you know that this is a side effect of that? What you are experiencing right now is a side effect of those medications that you're taking. And they don't know. They don't know. And I'm not saying that means you have to stop taking your medication. Of course, I'm not advising you to do that. I am advising you to be aware and to discuss that with your doctor because many people aren't even aware. And then at that point, what you're doing is you actually have to start treating the side effects of the medication. And at that point, if you have to be on one or two medications because there's just no way to get off them, I understand. But you need to be supplementing to make sure that whatever that medication is depleting in you, that you're at least compensating for that nutritionally with supplementation and with diet. Because you want to minimize all side effects of the medication. But what the medical model does is they start medicating your side effects. That's polypharmacy, okay? And that's the way this whole thing works. And many people are unaware of it. So let's just pull up a common thing people take, NSAIDs, right? So this is ibuprofen, naproxen, things of those natures. They're used to reduce pain and inflammation a lot of the time, and they work, right, by reducing the prostaglandins, and prostaglandins makes you feel pain. Okay, is the production of them. So they're responsible for inflammation, and here are some of the side effects, okay? So NSAIDs they cause stomach disruption. So things like nausea, they cause bloating, they can cause heartburn and indigestion. They can also, isn't this funny? A lot of people use these things for headache relief, but they can also cause headache and dizziness. And that's due to the prostaglandin changes in blood vessels. They can also cause drowsiness and just overall fatigue, right? Because they're quite hard on the liver as well. So, the liver, when the liver gets sluggish, you can feel signs of fatigue. Also, they're related to fluid retention. Okay, so mild swelling, especially in the ankles and the feet, sometimes in the hands. Also, NSAIDs have been linked to tinnitus, so the ringing in the ears that so many people experience. And that's a really strange one, because when that happens to you, a lot of times they'll say there's nothing they can do for that. And there's all these kind of devices that you can use that are supposed to help, but there's no real intervention for that. So it becomes something like you just have to deal with it. Something that it becomes part of your lifestyle. Like you just have to deal with it, just live with it. And I can't imagine that must be very annoying. Because I've been to concerts before when I was younger, and if your ears start ringing, it's pretty annoying. I can't imagine having to deal with that incessantly, right? So NSAIDs have been linked to that. Okay. They actually can cause gastrointestinal damage, things like ulcers and bleeding, and even perforation. So a lot of people that have experienced mass inflammation, right? They just know, I'm so inflamed, I've got inflammation, or your inflammatory markers are high. Are you using NSAIDs, and have you been using them ongoing? Because this is an issue, okay? With leaky gut, especially. So some severe ones, are like black stool, or even vomiting blood, caused by reduced protective prostaglandins in the stomach lining. So that's what happens. Also, cardiovascular risks. It increased the risks of heart attack, stroke, and high blood pressure, kidney impairment. What else? Elevated liver enzymes. I talked about that already. It can even cause hypersensitive reactions. So you can get hives, you can get wheezing, you can have nasal congestion. And some people with asthma or even nasal polyps may react severely to NSAIDs. Reduced platelet function, so easy bruising or bleeding can be caused by it. Even possible immune system dysregulations with chronic use of NSAIDs. They also have interactions with medications, so it interacts with blood thinners, ACE inhibitors, corticosteroids, SSRIs, which I'm sure nobody's telling anybody that. I just know they're not. I just know when you get these prescriptions in your doctor's office, they're not telling you all this stuff. This is true informed consent, right? The way it's pitched in your doctor's office or even in the pharmacy, when it's readily available for you to purchase without a prescription and stuff, you're not taking into effect that, oh my gosh, I'm on antidepressants. And I'm taking NSAIDs, and this puts me at risk for higher GI bleeding. So that's just a one medication that we look at as fairly benign. I mean, a lot of like, I noticed because my daughter's like a dancer. And so she was always in a studio and always at these conferences and whatnot. So a lot of, athletes around. And I see moms and dance teachers and wanting to help with pain and whatnot because, these girls are overworking their bodies. It's their go-to. And every time I would see it, I would just, oh my gosh, it's none of my business. I'm not going to sit here and police everybody, but I know people don't know what this is doing to their bodies. And there are people that wake up every day and they pop NSAIDs every day. It's just part of their daily routine. And then when their health starts to deteriorate, they don't correlate it to these things. The same thing happens with birth control. The same thing happens with blood pressure medication. The same thing, all of them. They all have side effects. And I'm not saying you should never use them. I'm just saying we got to be aware of this and we've got to understand, does the benefit outweigh the consequences? That's what we're doing here. We're always trying to I don't know, like with the COVID vaccine. There was no benefit for me to take that or any healthy person in my age range. And so it was a no-brainer decision. That's what we must be doing when we consider these interventions. Stay tuned, everybody. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. I am so glad you're here. We'll be right back.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Did you know the powerful antioxidant in our favorite Cellular Reset has been shown to activate your body's longevity genes, helping protect cells from aging and stress at the source? Lisa from Texas shared this with me. I've tried so many supplements over the years, but nothing made a difference like your Cellular Reset. Within 2 weeks, my energy came back, my joints felt looser, and my mind was sharper. It's like my body finally woke up again. You really took the time to understand my health story and guided me step by step. Try it today. Get a free membership with 15% discount off of all of our product line and a money-back guarantee by going to naturallyinspiredstore.com/reset. That's our Cellular Reset. Fights inflammation, full of polyphenols. I absolutely love it. I do not want to go without it myself. If you have questions about it, just text me 720-303-8868. Happy to answer any of your questions you have about that. Let's go to this other disturbing video I have to share with you today. We just started talking about the COVID shot there at the end. And this one really, I mean, we're seeing this over and over again now. You know, I think a lot of people, because we've got some time in between the COVID shots and where we are today. And again, this is the Pharma's model that keeps it going, is the fact that our brains are kind of wired to look for immediate signals, right? So like if we take something or we eat something and it makes us throw up. Oh, well, I'm not doing that again, right? That's how we equate things with, cause, right? Like I took this happened, that was the outcome. It has to be pretty close together for us to like correlate it. If there's too much time in between what we did and what's happening, we tend to not be able to correlate it. And the thing is, that the body can put up with a lot before it starts signaling to you. And that's the awesome thing about the body, is it is incredibly resilient. But when the bucket's full, the bucket's full. And that's when we start getting the whispering, we start getting the signaling that something's going on. But there's that time in between where we're not correlating. And so we have to, when you're in the detective business, like I am myself, looking at things, like trying to figure out, start from the beginning is what I say to people when I'm meeting with people. Please start from the beginning, because every little thing you're saying, and I have short time with people, that's why my goal is to get people into the naturally inspired community so that we can continue working together, so I can continue to hear your story and look for those signals. And then as you listen to the show and you plug into the weekly wellness workshops, you become your chief detective, right? Where I'm just pointing to things and you're going, that applies. That doesn't apply to me. That does, though. I want to know more about that, because it's cueing your own intuition, your guiding source that is leading you towards optimum health, because you have one. You have a guiding source within you that's leading you towards optimum health, because that's the way the body's programmed. It's in your DNA to survive and thrive. And so when things resonate with you, like, oh, I never heard of that, I should look into that. Yes, you should. That's your guiding source within you. So that's what I do, is connect people, right? So we can kind of fill in, because there's this big gap in between starting a medication or starting a protocol of some sort. And you think, oh, that's been working fine for 20 years. And I've never had a problem with it. Yeah, until now, right? Because your bucket's full now. It can't deal with it anymore. And so it's starting to whisper to you. Anyway, I believe that has happened with the COVID shots as well. I'm going to play this clip for you. I'm not sure if the sound is going to work, so I may just talk over it, but we'll take a look. Here it is.
Hey everyone. If I'm not answering my phone, it's because I'm in the hospital. I'm okay. This morning I woke up with what felt like a heart attack. So we quickly went to a hospital.
I know the sound's very quiet, but this is a very young woman who has been hospitalized with a heart attack.
I was showing signs of possible heart attack. So I was quickly transported to another
She's
hospital,
explaining
where they
how she was transported to hospital because she had signs of a heart attack. She is 29 years old.
Had a, sorry, my brain's everywhere. They put this like wire thing, I think it's called a catheter, in through my wrist, all the way into my heart.
Okay, we can stop it because I know it's not very loud, but I wanted to I pulled that right off of a legit account because here we are, 2025, and you guys, so much of what, like, everybody's reporting the fact that chronic illness is up in the country. We're at an all-time high of like 76% of Americans walking around with chronic illness, and it's escalating. It's escalating, and it's maddening. You know, it's not just the COVID vaccines. Okay, I'm going to say that up front because I know my kids tease me all the time because they'll bring their friends' health issues or whatever to me, like, "Hey, Mom, what do you think this is, or what do you think that is?" And I look at them and they go, "It's the shot," like it's a big joke in our house. But it's not funny. First of all, it's not funny. The damage that it has done is not funny at all. I'm not laughing at that. But it is a problem that people are not acknowledging now. And it's because we are years later down the road. But when you're dealing with things like seizures as a young person, if you're in your 20s, you don't have any history of seizures and you took the COVID vaccine and all of a sudden you're getting seizures, that is the place I would say to start, because what changed? What changed, right? So that's one thing. Heart problems in your 20s, that ain't normal. This woman's 29 years old, and they actually, in the full clip, they actually tell her that chances are the reason why she's experiencing these heart problems is because of the COVID injection. And I know people don't want to admit that after, because they took it, and it's like, oh, I did this to myself. But you need to know the truth so that you can deal accordingly. I don't know what the antidote to the COVID shot is. I don't think anybody does. I think there's a lot of people out there that think they have the right protocol and the right supplement to detox from it and all that. I'm just here to tell you, I don't know about any of those. I'm not a big believer in silver bullets that fix everything, but I'll tell you what, if I had taken it, I would be eating as clean as I possibly can. I would be staying out of insulin resistance. I would be exercising. I would be living the basis foundation, and I'd be detoxing all the time. Always be detoxing, not these little protocols that come out and they're like, oh, do this really intense. No, I'd always be detoxing. So I'd always be on an anti-inflammatory. I'd always be on some kind of, gentle detox for the liver. That's what I would be doing. I would probably be exploring some of the enzymes and whatnot if it were me. That's all I'm saying. But I am saying be leery of people that push one product or whatever that's going to fix all your problems, because you are a synergistic being. And so it's nutrition first. It's what are you putting in your body every day? If it's not food, right? It's got to change. If you are currently in dis-ease, then what you have been putting into your body up until now is not creating healing. It's not creating optimum health. And so we have to look at all the things that go into your body. And then we go, okay, what's the best place to start? And I'll tell you, it's always with diet. It's always with nutrition. It's always with, making sure we're filling your nutritional void, and detoxing as well. Always be detoxing. I'm not the only person that believes this. I'm not the only person that believes this. There are incredible experts and professionals now that understand metabolic disease, like dysfunction at the cellular level, is the start of all disease. Insulin resistance must be corrected. Okay? So if you're struggling with weight, chances are you're in insulin resistance. If you're carrying around weight, like this is the foundation. We have to get your nutrition right so we can kind of like come out of that part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to settle all that because the sugar, the high carbohydrate diet, like that's all the smoke. There's so much smoke. Let's get the smoke down. Let's get the inflammation down. And then when the smoke clears, we can say, okay, what else can we be doing here? But the truth is, so much of that smoke is going to disappear when you get the foundation in place. So much of it is going to disappear once you get that foundation in place. So I know everybody, but go back to what I was saying in the beginning of the show, right? With the allopathic model that has us convinced. Take a pill. Do this. You need something outside yourself to heal. No. You may need nutrients. No doubt about it. I'm a big fan of supplementation for tools, but if you don't dial in that diet and stop the assault on your body in terms of toxicity and hormone imbalance due to insulin resistance and high cortisol, if you don't get that all worked out, it doesn't matter what silver bullet, perfect protocol, whatever, all encompassing healing thing they're selling. It's not going to last. You need longevity for your health. And the only way to get that is consistent action over long periods of time. I would not lie to you. You're listening and watching to Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. I am so glad you're here. Stay tuned for your Naturally Inspired moment. We'll be right back.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. I want to tell you about our weekly wellness workshops. That's what it's all about here in Naturally Inspired. It's about creating a community that supports you on your optimum health journey. Now, part of that is supplementation, wellness products that many of you are already using. But what you don't get when you buy products from the store or products from anybody that I know of, they don't give you their health text line. They don't give you weekly wellness workshops. They don't give you the support that you need. And it turns out that's the biggest factor. Listen, I've been doing this a long time, and it's great to learn things and you get the information and you feel like, okay, I'm ready to go. And then you see something else online and then you're like, wait a minute, I hadn't heard that. What about that? I'm going to get that. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then you see something else and you're like, well, what about that? Maybe that's... And I laugh because we've all done it. When we're looking for answers for something, we're so impressionable, right? Because we just want to fix this, especially when we don't feel good. So I don't think people necessarily mean to be predatory. They're just kind of trying to get information out there. But the truth of the matter is, pick a path. Pick a path. And the research, that is there is one that starts with nutrition and lifestyle. Cutting out toxins, right? Cut out the toxins in your life. Make sure you're living clean. Make sure your food is as whole as you can get it. So we know what your body is intaking. Make sure that the supplementation that you're taking is targeted for a specific goal and outcome. Most people never get to the root cause of their fatigue, weight gain, or inflammation because they're chasing their symptoms instead of restoring balance. Laura from Colorado says, I was tired of quick fixes that never lasted. Tammy helped me see what my body was really asking for. With her plan, I regained my energy, improved my digestion, and finally feel in control of my health. So try it. try the Naturally Inspired community today. You'll get a 90-day plan with me, working with me. You'll get priority access to my text line. You'll get VIP access to the weekly wellness workshop. And all you have to do to get started is schedule an assessment with me. So it's a free health and lifestyle assessment. You can get yourself booked at naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment, or you can just text me. Let's just get this thing started right away. You can text me 720-303-8868 and I'll point you in the right direction, get you scheduled. We'll have a little sit down. It's always an enjoyable conversation. People always learn something. I mean, I don't think anyone's ever come back to me and said, I didn't learn anything and that was a waste of my time. I don't think anybody's ever said that to me. But our weekly wellness workshops are just the same as those sit-down one-on-one conversations that we have. They're full of information. We do about a half an hour presentation on a topic that I know pertains to everybody. And then we do a question and answer period as well. And then you get ongoing support on my text line. I don't know anybody else is offering this at this price point, which is like just become a customer. You just have to become a customer. You're buying vitamins. You're buying laundry detergent from the store. You're buying all this stuff from the store anyway. Like, I just think the people who don't do it, they just don't understand it. So if you have questions about it, just text me, 720-303-8868. Maybe they think it's too good to be true. I don't know. I got a bigger picture here, though. I'm trying to shape culture in the country for better health for everybody. I do not want our children enslaved in a medical system that requires compliance. So if you think, why would she do that? Why does she do that? That is why. That is why. We need to preserve medical freedom in this country. And when you get better results in your health because you've learned something from Naturally Inspired and you apply it, you're never going back. You're never going back to the pill pushers. And that is the goal. Today's Naturally Inspired moment, this is such a good one. This one really... Jason just texted me with the topic for weekly wellness workshop this week is insulin resistance. Everyone needs to be on this one. And I'll play you a clip after at this in the second hour as to why, especially. But it's going to be a good one this week, insulin resistance. We're going to dive deep into it. But anyway, for today's Naturally Inspired moment, I want to talk about seeing yourself. This was so good. So external recognition is something a lot of us seek, whether it's our childhood trauma or relationship trauma that we've had as we grow up or whatever. We build these neural pathways of thinking and they become very deep and there are go-to places. You know, we go to that place to get external recognition. And the truth of the matter is external recognition, so praise, right, for the things you do or who you are, it lasts minutes, while internal recognition lasts forever. Those who haven't seen their own light will always chase it in others' eyes. So if we haven't seen our own beautiful light yet, we will chase it in other people's acknowledgement of our successes, of our talents, of our worthiness. And so that one goes way back. You go way back to childhood, right? If you came from a family that just wasn't real, open with praise or recognition or, then you will be chasing it in other people, from other people, rather. So let me explain a little further. So we live in a world obsessed with applause, likes on posts, loves on posts. We're getting to the point now where we are equating people's success from their followers online, from the number of likes they have, from the number of followers that they have on their social media accounts, which is crazy because, you can buy followers, right? You can buy likes, and many people do. But also, if you look at the pattern, not the healthiest people sometimes that have the most followers, right? I mean, Britney Spears has a lot of followers. She may be a talented singer, but she's got some issues going on. I think we can all agree with that. And so it's kind of like, you know, some of these accounts are just, they're not the healthiest. So, you know, having a lot of followers or getting a lot of recognition does not equate to health and healthy living and healthy esteem. It's actually kind of the opposite in a lot of cases. So, you know, you wonder why the world's crazy? Well, you know, because it requires you to be crazy to get a lot of followers. It's like, oh my gosh, we're reinforcing the worst behaviors. But the truth is, external recognition fades as quickly as it comes. It's fleeting. It's a spark, not a fire. So stop working to be seen and start working to see yourself. When you finally witness your own effort and your own growth and your own resilience, you stop needing someone else's approval to feel worthy and to feel proud of yourself. That's the power of internal recognition. It lasts forever because it comes from a source that doesn't run dry. It comes from you knowing how worthy you are. So those who haven't seen their own light will always chase it in others' eyes. But the moment you see your own light, everything changes. You stop performing and you start living. So 5 strategies to see yourself more clearly. Number 1, celebrate quiet wins. Not everything meaningful gets noticed. Isn't that the truth? Honor the small, unseen victories that you have, the ones that happen when no one's watching. They're the foundation of confidence for you. But if you're not acknowledging the things that you do, how are you supposed to build confidence? The way you build confidence is by reflection and going, oh my gosh, I was really nervous about that, or I thought I would suck at that, or that wasn't so bad. Taking the time to actually acknowledge what you accomplish. So many of us tend to accomplish things and then we're on to the next thing. Well, what's next? Yeah, I did that, but what's next? Because our neural pathways are stuck in childhood, people. They're stuck in childhood where your feelings and what you didn't get the recognition you yearned for. And so you learned to not look for, not to cultivate it in yourself. And you kept chasing it. Number 2, spend time in reflection. Take time each day to ask, what am I proud of today? What did I do today that was a really good thing? Whether it was a good deed, for goodness sakes, like holding the door for someone or, going out of your way to be of comfort to somebody else. Even 5 minutes of honest reflection helps you see your effort through your own eyes instead of someone else's. And helping someone else is a huge value. If you are the type of person, like you're like, oh, I'm not talented at anything. I'm not really good at anything, or I don't know what I'm good at. Helping other people's a skill. Do you know how many people walk around and they're not thinking about anybody else? They're focused on what they got to do, and they don't even think about other people around them. So many of you are always thinking about other people. So that right there is something to give yourself recognition for. Detach from comparison. When you measure your worth by someone else's life, you lose sight of your own. Your growth is not a race. It's a relationship between who you were and who you are becoming. Number 4, speak kindly to yourself. Your inner dialogue creates reality. Replace criticism with compassion for yourself, and your self-image will start to match the truth that you're already enough, because you are. Number 5, redefine success. Instead of chasing recognition, awards, accolades, chase alignment. Moments where your actions totally match your values. That's a huge win. How many people are living out of alignment with their beliefs and values? It crushes them every day because they know they're not doing what's right for them, but they feel trapped. And so every time you can choose actions that match your values and your belief system, give yourself credit for that, because that will erode your self-respect over time. Not living in alignment with what you know is good and true will erode your self-respect subconsciously. Subconsciously, you will start to lose respect for yourself every time you engage in something that you know is not good and true. It's just the way we work as humans. And so every time you do that, and you are in alignment with your beliefs and your values, give yourself credit. That's one more notch toward self-respect for yourself. That's where peace lives, and it's where self-respect is born, living in alignment with your beliefs and values. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert-Garcia. My gosh, that first hour went fast. We'll be right back with hour 2.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio. Save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. naturallyinspiredradio.com.
Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Hey, welcome back. This is hour 2 of Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm so glad you're here. During hour 1, we were talking about culture control, which is our daily topic, kind of like what's shaping culture right now. And we're talking about medications and side effects of medication and how powerful nutrition is. You know, we're putting stuff in our mouth every day. And we're exposed to a lot of things in our environment, which a lot of that stuff we can't do too much about, but we can control what we're bringing into our house, what we're putting on our skin, what we're putting in our mouths. And guess what? This has the biggest impact on our body. And so we were talking about that. And then we were talking about how side effects, you know, we often don't correlate side effects with everyday medications like PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, or NSAIDs, you know, that we take for headaches or pain or what have you, or even birth control. You know, we're not attributing a lot of these side effects that come with these medications that we've been on a long time. So, you know, I was just telling people that you need to look up your medications and see if they have a black box warning. A black box warning is a designation that medications get for severe safety warning, right? So it causes problems, black box warning. When something has a black box warning, it's only supposed to be recommended as a last resort and for a limited time. And nobody abides by that, it would seem, because I hear of people being on black box drugs for decades at a time, and they have no idea even what a black box designation means. So bring that to your awareness and check out what you're doing with your own lifestyle and your own medication so that you can bring more education into, you know, what you need to do in order to resolve some of these whispers, some of these signals that you may be getting from your body. Fundamentally, and I've been saying this now for a long time, you know, and it's really interesting. So I'll go ahead and start with the clip. Let's start with this clip. This is Ben Bickman, who is a researcher, PhD from Brigham Young University. And then there is Rhonda Patrick, who has gotten a notoriety from being on Joe Rogan. So both researchers, both like PhDs. She researches longevity and long, healthy life. And he is an insulin researcher. So he is very, very involved in insulin resistance. So this is just a little clip from their conversation. Have a listen.
Unapologetically embrace the view that to some degree, insulin resistance is a common root cause for most chronic diseases.
Obviously, type 2 diabetes, obesity's in there.
Alzheimer's, fatty liver disease, infertility.
So why is that?
Insulin is one of the few peptide hormones that will literally affect every single cell of the body. For example, the connection between insulin resistance and breast and prostate cancers. I'm not saying insulin resistance is the singular contributor, not at all, but it is absolutely a contributor.
I kind of wanted to start out with something a little provocative. Right now, there's a big trend in weight loss that's made very easy by taking GLP-1 agonist drugs, things like Ozempic and Wegovy.
GLP-1 is a naturally produced hormone. My concern is that the dose of GLP-1 that we're using now, it's just a little too much of a good thing.
What are some of the best strategies people can do now to really make a difference?
Okay. Now, the reason I picked this clip, okay, is because I value both of these researchers. I think they have a big body of work, and especially Ben Bickman. He's helped me understand insulin resistance a lot better, and some of his talks are outstanding. Okay. And I think this is a great example of how health is nuanced. So, like Rhonda Patrick, she totally believed in the COVID vaccines and recommended and promoted them. So like, I find that just astounding, right? Somebody from that comes from my point of view would be like, wow, that is crazy that you could spend that much time in the health realm and submit yourself to those things. But it's a perfect example of how compartmentalized we tend to be. She's indoctrinated through that system of medicine, right? Of health. Her schooling comes from that area. His schooling comes from that area. Everything's coming from that area. So they don't know anything else. And anything outside of that, and I don't know about Ben Bickman. I don't know if he took the vaccine or not. I don't know. But isn't it interesting, because their compartmentalization, I don't know, there's gaps. There's gaps because, again, it comes down to weighing benefit versus consequence. And oh my gosh, I don't care. Like, there was nobody that benefited from taking that thing. There was nobody that benefited from taking that thing. That is my opinion. Okay. I don't give medical advice. I don't even have a PhD. Okay. But I read. And when you looked at the product website, there was nothing on there that could have swayed me to take it because there wasn't any benefit for me for taking it. But they definitely have insulin resistance dialed in and they understand it. And their research totally makes sense. The research on this totally makes sense. And they're not the only ones that are pumping out this type of research, right? There's plenty of other nutritionists and metabolic, disease researchers, and we're all seeing this. That it's actually a metabolic disease and things start at the cellular level. They start at the cellular level. There's dysfunction. Why is there dysfunction at the cellular level? We're eating ungodly amounts of sugar, people. Like, we were never designed to eat this much sugar. And sugar is, and people, I talk to people all the time that actually think they don't eat sugar at all. I don't eat sugar because I'm not eating candy. I'm not eating candy bars or whatever. Yeah, but you're having toast for breakfast every day. And toast is converted right into glucose. It goes right into sugar. You're having pasta for dinner. You're having a piece of toast in the morning. You're having rice, sushi at lunch. And then you're having spaghetti at dinner. Like, that's a ton of sugar, not to mention the coffees and the beverages and maybe the handful of M&Ms or the small donut hole. They think I'm eating healthy. I barely indulge in desserts or anything like that. I'm sure that's true, but the foundation of your diet is coming from sugar because you are eating 6 to 7 servings of whole grains. Right? This is spiking insulin. We've got to get back to whole foods. And when I say whole foods, I'm talking about, meat that walks on the earth. I'm talking about the vegetables and fruits that grow in the dirt. Your body knows how to interpret that information. Everything you put into your body is communication. And when you fill your body with refined carbohydrates, you are communicating with it. You are communicating. It is taking it as sugar. That's the communication. Okay? So I love that they're onto this. He's like, oh, is everything attributed to insulin resistance? I know he wants to say yes. I know he wants to say yes, because you fix insulin resistance and gosh, so much goes away. And yeah, there's still other things that you may have to adapt for, especially if you have been in the medical model for a long time and you've done some medical wreckage to your body. And when I say medical wreckage, I mean like, I hate to say it, but like surgeries, right? A lot of surgeries. I know, chronically people that have had gastric bypass surgeries, you're going to have issues. Doesn't mean you can't adapt, but get this insulin resistance under control. And then you can deal with the fallout of the gastric bypass, right? But once the surgery's done, it's done. There's not a lot you can do for that. That's why prevention is key, and people understanding prevention. Surgery should be an absolute last resort, right? Medications with black box warnings and whatnot. Yes, we need emergency interventions sometimes, but that's how they should be used. They should be used as emergency interventions, meaning we got to save a life here, right? Great. Thank God we have these medications. We can save lives with them, but that's not a way to keep living. You don't take the medication and then continue to live the same way you were living. You're asking for a recipe for disaster at that point. You go, oh my gosh, I got to take these medications till I can get my stuff under control. That should be the approach, but it's not. They tell you take these medications and just take them for life. You got to take them for life. There's just nothing else you can do. And then you take them, and then, 5 years down the road, I'll tell you, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If you want to know the truth about medications, look into insurance data. Because insurance companies, they micromanage data. That's what they do. That's their business. They want to know the minute you go on a medication, how long it takes you to need another medication, right? They know if you go on a certain, statin or whatever, that 6 years down the road, you're going to need XYZ, because they have all the patterns. They're looking at the data, and it happens over and over and over again. So they can project out, okay, this person, as an insurance company, we're going to have to cover them for this. And then in 6 years, they're going to need this. You want to know the truth about your health? Let's expose insurance data, because this is what these people do for a living. These underwriters and these people that report to their corporations for health insurance, they know exactly what's going to happen to you the minute you go on a medication. They know approximately, almost to the day, how long it's going to take before you need a surgery on your tendons because you're on blood pressure medication. It's true. So it's just crazy. But that's what we're living with. So where do you start? You start with treating insulin resistance. The good thing is you can do that with diet, right? You can do that with diet. You got to get serious though. There isn't such a thing as eating to get out of insulin resistance, meaning you're eating high protein, healthy fat, leafy greens, a little bit of low glycemic index fruits, but also, splurging in garlic toast a little bit once or twice a week. No, you're in healing mode. When you're in healing mode, you got to dial it in. And then once you're dialed in and all the signaling from your body is gone, meaning you don't have the joint pain, meaning you're not crashing out with fatigue, you're not, then 10%, 15% of the time, you can set aside a day where you're not adhering to such a strict protocol. But most of the time, you need to be eating this way, whole foods, Okay. All right. I want to move on to our next story. This one floored me, you guys. So, this garbage that they've been rolling out on us here with the carbon score. It's pretty insane. So stay tuned. I'll tell you what I learned. We'll be right back. This is Naturally Inspired Radio.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
So what do they talk about on the weekly wellness workshop? Is it worth it? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Should I join? Should I not join? I'm telling you, if you're not joining the Naturally Inspired community, you may not quite understand how it works because it is such a good deal. I don't know any other deal that is good as this when it comes to getting on track with your health. I truly do not. I'm totally frugal. I mean, I got married when I was 20. Nobody knows how to be more frugal than me. And I am keenly cognizant of people's budgets. I don't want to overcharge anybody. I'm not looking at this to sell a whole bunch of products and just take everybody's money and run or whatever. I'm here for the long term. I'm trying to change the culture of our health in the United States of America. You know how hard that is? I don't know. I couldn't have picked a harder thing to do. I swear, I don't know what's wrong with me. Why am I like this? Just give me the hardest thing in the world to do. Yeah, I'll sign up for that. That's what I did. What? So I try to make it as easy as possible. People buy vitamins. They buy wellness products. You need to supplement. Our food's nutrient bankrupt. You got to supplement. A good methylated multivitamin. I love it. A wonderful anti-inflammatory product. I love it. Collagen. You need it. You're losing it. Everybody's losing it after 25, right? So you're buying all these things anyway. Tends to be that you're buying them from places like Costco or, where they're convenient. I get it. It's convenient. However, I know you care about health, and I know you want to preserve your right to choose in this country. And Naturally Inspired is fighting for that every day. That's what we are doing. So I know it's convenient to buy at the big box stores, and I know so-and-so has a such and such, and somebody else had the so-and-so, and that had the this, and I tried that, and my practitioner gave me that. I know. And I'm sure a lot of those products are wonderful. But I also know my products are wonderful. And if you can buy 1 or 2 of them from me, then that's all I ask. You become part of the Naturally Inspired community. I'll give you everything else for free. My coaching, my weekly wellness workshops, I'm do all this. Our health summits, we keep our tickets super low on that as well. We are truly about the mission here, and we're relying on our community to back us. And so Tomorrow night's weekly wellness workshop will be about sugar's whisper, the subtle sabotage of cellular health, because insulin resistance is at the base of that. Such a big part of it. So we're going to dive into that. So if that sounds like, oh my gosh, I'd like to learn more about that, then go to naturallyinspiredstore.com/collagen reset. Look at some of the products. Make a purchase, and then you become part of the Naturally Inspired community. And we meet on Zoom tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. If you can't meet us there live, then we have a back office that you can log into and access all of the calls. And make it when you can live, and watch them on demand when you can't make it. Take advantage of my health text line. It's me. It's not a chat bot. It's not AI. It's not a chatbot. I don't even know how to use a chatbot. If you're a new listener, you're going to learn really quickly. I'm not a big fan of all of the tech stuff. Like, I am a total Gen X girl. I am an analog girl living in a digital world. I say this all the time. It's like my mantra. So it isn't a bot. It's really me. And I will do my very best, as always, to connect you to the information that you need to make an informed decision about your health. So that is the Naturally Inspired community. Come and join us. Help us shape health culture in this country together. I know we can do it. Okay, the carbon score. Check this. So last week, I was showing you those pictures of like the sandwich and all the different products that had made me sick, had like a carbon score on it. So basically the currency that we're moving into with the digital currency, which is not just digital banking, right? We all know what it is. It's programmable currency, and it's going to be tied to things like social credit score and climate change, carbon score. And so we're starting to see the products roll out. Last week we saw a sandwich that was, I think it had meat in it. Oh my gosh, you guys, it had meat in it. So because it had meat in it, it was like 8.1 was the carbon rating on it, the score. So bloop, there goes 8 points off your carbon score in your digital wallet. And we started to see more products. So on the flip side, your Beyond Meat, that company that Bill Gates has invested in, yeah, those barely cost any carbon credits. They're like 0.21 carbon credits. Do you understand how this is going to go? Do you understand you need meat to be healthy? That's my opinion. I don't know how to, really thrive without meat in my body. I don't. I've tried it many, many, many years ago. I've tried everything. I've tried it all. And I think maybe some people can thrive in that with that food. I cannot. I literally felt like I was going to die without meat. I do believe there is some research, that blood type does relate to this, that you just do better on certain diets correlating with your blood type. There's a book on it. Some of the book got debunked, but as soon as anything gets, quote, debunked, well, then the whole thing gets thrown out. And I'm not a big believer of that. You can't throw out everything. Everybody's got something to bring to the conversation of value. I truly believe that. And that book, I think, had some value in it. I really do. It resonated with a lot of people. And there was certainly some research that backed it. So, we aren't paint everybody with the same brush type of individuals. You can't just say one diet for everybody. And, so this is pretty terrifying. But check this screenshot out. I grabbed it off of someone's X account. This is my footprints. So this is happening, you guys, in the UK. My footprints. Your estimated footprint is 2,215 kilograms CO2. So 28 kilograms on their bills, 41 kilograms on their eating out, 327 kilograms on their shopping. Do you see how each transaction has a carbon footprint attached to it. It's just insane because, let's rewind the show back to, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You're crazy, lady. You're crazy. Oh, you're such a conspiracy. You're so conspiratorial. That's not what they're doing. Everybody does digital banking. You already do digital banking. You already do digital banking. What are you talking about? You already have a vaccine record. Don't you remember when you had to give your vaccine card when you were... I don't know where these people live, I don't know where they live, how they can be so out of touch. Let me say it again for the people in the back, shall we? The climate change is an ad campaign. It's a commercialized advertising campaign. We had one in the 80s, and it was the diet culture campaign. You know what came with the diet culture campaign? A lot of fat-free. A lot of low-calorie, nutrient-bankrupt, poisonous foods. And what did that create? That created the mess that we're in right now, which is an obesity epidemic, right? We've been in an obesity epidemic for so long. Like people call obesity a disease. I don't. It's not a disease. It's not a disease. It's a condition. You're in a condition for sure. But disease implies that you need a medication. And I don't like that. So I don't use those terms. The body is awesome. It is so awesome. You think, we're even if we're dealing with obesity, carrying around 100 extra pounds, that body gets up for you every day. It shows up for you every day, regardless. Stay tuned, everyone. Carbon score. We'll continue this discussion in a minute.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturalinspiredbradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen.
I do love me some collagen. Did you know that clinical studies show daily collagen peptides can increase skin hydration up to 28%, reduce fine lines and wrinkles in 8 weeks? Tom from Michigan said, my skin was dry and dull before I started your liquid collagen. After 2 months, my skin tone evened out and I actually look rested again. Tammy explained why my body needed it. Now I understand much more about collagen and what it does just beyond the skin. You can try some collagen today, get a free membership with 15% discount on all the product line and a money back guarantee. So if you don't like it, you return it, you get a full refund on it for a lifetime. It's one of the reasons why I partnered with this company. Go to naturalinspiredstore.com/collagen. That's COLLAGEN. Or text me Just cut to the chase. Let's have a conversation. 720-303-8868. This whole carbon credit thing, I mean, can you imagine? Like, I don't even know what my carbon score would be. But here's the thing. I want to reiterate that the climate change ad campaign is necessary to get people to comply. And I am not saying that we don't have a problem in our environment, because we do. You know what our number one problem, I think, is? Our soil. Our soil has been robbed of all its nutrients through monocropping and through GMO seed. I think that's a big genetically modified organisms and genetically engineered food. I think that's proving to be a big problem for health. Go look up some studies on that. You won't find them. Nobody gets paid. You'll find just a handful of them. It's funny because none of the food companies that use genetically engineered food, bioengineered food, materials to produce food, none of them want to study the health impacts on this. Isn't that weird? Yeah, because they don't. There's nobody funding studies to find out how their product hurts people. It's not happening. And our science is funded. It is funded. Let me repeat that again. Our science is funded. And it's funded by corporations who want to make more products to sell. And so the climate change ad campaign is a big one. And it's there for a purpose. It's there to shape culture. It's there for culture control, because if you believe in climate change, then you're going to do all the things. You're going to stop buying red meat. You're going to buy fake meat. Like, how ridiculous, how absolutely ridiculous. We are so ridiculous. We have things that exist in nature. We've stopped following the rules of nature, of how to conduct ourselves, how to farm with nature instead of against it. We live against nature. Things go crazy. They go off the rails. We start getting bad results. And instead of going back to nature, what do? We synthesize nature. We synthesize what occurs naturally. We patent it and we sell it to the people as a solution. What? This is a pattern. We do it with food. We do it with medicine. We do it with technology. Like, what is wrong with nature? I'll tell you what's wrong with nature. And this is why everybody senses it and says it all the time. This is a spiritual war. This is why everybody senses it and says it all the time. But it's like, oh, this thing feels spiritual. Yeah, because they're severing your connection to nature. And it's purposeful. When they sever your connection with nature, who are you disconnected from? Who are you disconnected from when you are severed from nature? Who created nature? That's why it feels spiritual, because it is. They're disconnecting you from God, from your creator. For goodness sakes, last Tuesday we covered plant frequency. The light in plant. The light in the plants, the sunlight, the plants are a filter for sunlight. They capture the sunlight. They keep it in their plant materials. You eat it and it nourishes your body. What? Like, just think about that. Now you got somebody like Bill Gates. Oh, you don't need the sun. You don't need that. We're making this wonderful synthetic version of plants and meat in this laboratory, and this is better for you. And somehow we've been conned into thinking that this garbage that they concoct in laboratories, for the most part, is the way we should live. Like, just think about that. We have light. We have soil to grow food. We were given seed. Like, we have all these things that create health in our body, but somehow we've been conned by businessmen and corporations. And it started with our health 100 years ago with Rockefeller medicine. How could we get a patent on something that occurs naturally in nature? Because we're not allowed to do that. Well, we can synthesize it. We can replicate it, just make it a little bit different. And then we can get a patent on it and we can tell everybody it works better. That's what we're doing. We continue to allow this to happen. I don't know why. Like, I wish everybody could just read about propaganda, like Edward Bernays, his whole background with rolling out propaganda is just we're still living it today. We are still living it today. We have been tricked to think that we are weak, feeble beings that need pharmaceutical products, that need smarter people that create things. Bill Gates is pretty smart. He's pretty smart. Don't give him that credit. Don't give them that credit. They do not deserve that. Maniacal doesn't equal intellect. Evil doesn't equal intellect. They're conniving, I'll give you that. Gosh, I can't stand it when people say that. Well, they're so smart. No, they aren't. They're evil. They're evil. Think about what your credit score will be. You're going to eat plants that you're growing. That's not allowed. You're not allowed. We're going to cut down all the trees. Because that's wrong, remember? Trees filled. For goodness sakes, they're plants. You're meant to live with the plants, okay? Bill Gates wants to kill all your plants and bury them. How did we get conned into thinking that this guy's smarter than all of us, right? It's just something. But think about your credit score if you were eating whole foods, if you were needing to eat meat and chicken and fish and all the things that they say are ruining climate change. And let me remind you that global warming was the beginning of climate change. They had to rebrand that sucker because it wasn't working anymore because we were getting into a little mini ice age. And now it's climate change. Isn't that just the perfect marketing term? Because anytime the weather's changing, you can point to climate change. It's just crazy that people buy into this. Now they're going to restrict our movement, restrict our ability to eat what nourishes our bodies. They're going to sever your tie from nature completely if you let them. Another thing that's happening is Sanjay Gupta, this little guy. You're familiar with this guy. He's the talking head for the mainstream network. He does all the things. Everyone is so smart. He's so smart. Is he smart, or does he just read scripts? Anyway, so he's talking about he had something on his podcast which I found very interesting. Take a listen.
For example, for colorectal cancer, the average age of diagnosis used to be in the 70s, and screening used to start at age 50. So any cancer that was developing before age 50 was considered early onset.
So that's a movable target, it sounds like, in terms of how we define this. Are we seeing younger and younger people with these types of cancers?
Unfortunately, yes. And the most common cancer that has been talked about, because it's one of the most rapidly rising in people under the age of 50, is colorectal cancer. Currently, young onset colorectal cancer is already the leading cause of cancer-related death in men under the age of 50. And
I guess the obvious question is why?
So that is the big question of the decade, I think. It is what so many of us researchers are trying to understand. And when we see these birth cohort effects, what it usually suggests is that there's some recent environmental exposure or exposures that have happened recently that are contributing to that rise. And we do know that things like colorectal cancer and other gastrointestinal cancers are increasing the most rapidly in young people. So the big question now is, what are these things that are actually leading to this increasing incidence in young people?
Oh my goodness, what could they be? I don't know, because we're not allowed to look at a novel intervention like a COVID vaccine. We're not allowed to look at the fact that people are getting put on medication younger and younger. They're medicating their feelings, they're medicating their emotions, and it's been normalized to do that. We're not allowed to look at any of the corporate products. We will never solve this. We will never solve why cancer is exploding in people under the age of 50, because we're not allowed to look at the variables, people. We're not allowed to consider them, because this isn't science. Because again, science is funded, and the people who fund science are the people who make these very products. So you're never going to get to the bottom of this through your recommended expert channels like Sanjay Gupta. They're never going to admit this. So the question is, do we sit around and wait for them to figure it out? Should we just wait? Oh, I don't know. It's idiopathic. Oh, what could it possibly be? What recent environmental factors have changed? I don't know. Something that comes to mind would be, genetically modified organisms entering our food system, genetically engineered everything. I mean, it's on bioengineered. This product contains bioengineered material. That's communication you're putting into your body. Does your body know how to put that communication to use, or does it end up in your detox pathways? Just a solid question. Just curious. Are microplastics, could that be an issue? Does your body know how to turn microplastics into energy at the cellular level, or does it go into your detox pathways? I'm sorry, but this just pisses me off. They think we're stupid. So insulting. Stay tuned, because I got some news about water and also your health topic that we're going to zoom through in the last 15 minutes. We'll be right back.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
You want to become part of the Naturally Inspired community? I can tell you how. Text me, 720-303-8868. I got a lot to cover in this last 15 minutes, so let's get to it, because I know you need to know this. And again, gosh, I wish I wasn't right. I wish I wasn't right. You have no idea how bad I wish I wasn't right. But I was right. And something told me, sometimes you just get a vision for something, you're like, oh, that's what that is. Something told me quite a while ago that we need to be concerned about water. And this is years ago now. And I was like, oh, and then I started to see Bill Gates investing in water. And I started to see Bill Gates investing in different ways to, filter water and get you to drink toilet water. And I thought, oh no, water, water, water. And then I discovered that data centers need water to cool. And then I was like, oh no. Watch this, you guys.
You didn't know my husband has an environmental science degree from Oklahoma State University. He's a nerdy science guy, works with the environment. Anyway, he attended a conference this week for work in the environmental science and safety realm, and he's got some really good information that every person in the world needs to know, so listen.
Did you know if you ask AI, ChatGPT, whatever search engine it is, a simple yes or no question, it takes about 1.5 liters of water to process that data to get you your answer back. So if you ask them a complex question, it'll take much more water than that. Data centers that house AI use tremendously large amounts of water and discharge tremendously large amounts of water. And it's a big issue, especially when they're putting data centers in states like Arizona, New Mexico. There's no water to supply them. And they can affect the communities around them and have a big impact on the water table. That's a big concern. Most people think about the power they use and the power grid, but water consumption for cooling those is a huge concern.
This is why climate change, right? Because you can't consume the water they need to power AI. You cannot use water to run your farm, feed your animals, feed your dog, because they need every drop right now for AI, for the race for AI. The conservation of natural resources, it is not about the planet. It is about AI. And you think about the fires that we have seen along the coast. They won't let people rebuild. They're holding everything up like, oh, you can't rebuild. You can't rebuild. Why is that? Well, it's near the water. It's near the water. And I'm telling you, water is going to be of the utmost importance. It'll be the reason why you're not able to travel out of your 15-minute city. It'll be the reason why you're not allowed to have a pet. It'll be the reason because they're trying to use it almost as currency. Natural resources are going to become the currency. It all aligns with the climate change campaign. You're going to start hearing more and more about that, but let's get to our health topic today because I want to talk about tendonitis. Tendonitis refers to inflammation or irritation of a tendon, the band of tissue connecting muscle to bone. In reality, many tendon problems are part of a broader degeneration rather than purely just acute inflammation. So here are some general causes and risk factors for tendonitis. Of course, you know, the big one is overuse, right, or repetition. Repeating the same movement over and over can put stress on a tendon and lead to tendonitis. So sports movement or occupational movement. Of course, injury can cause tendonitis with increased load and tendon degeneration, right? So tendon degeneration comes from deficiency, nutrient deficiency, right? Things like collagen can help with that. Biomechanical, anatomic issues rather. So poor form or muscle imbalance, tight or weak muscles. So, you know, it's the body is so, it's so systemic. Like a lot of people think, you know, it's the point where you're feeling the pain where the problem is. But a lot of time with tendonitis, it's because where the pain shows up is because something further down the line or up the line has actually been injured and you're causing overuse because that tendon is now overcompensating. And we don't think of it that way. We think of what's injured is from the point of origin where the pain is coming from. So it's just kind of a different way. Underlying medical conditions that can cause things like tendonitis, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, thyroid disorders, obesity can relate to tendonitis because of increased load and in being in an inflammatory state. Because if you're carrying extra weight, you have inflammation. You have inflammation when you're carrying extra weight. Poor vascular supply This is a big one that people underestimate. So some tendons have naturally poor blood supply. And then if you have poor vascular supply to those tendons, it impacts it even more, making healing slower. And also it puts you at risk for micro damage to those tendons. There are medications and drug-related causes to tendonitis. There are specific medications known to increase the risk of tendon problems. So beta blockers, blood pressure medication. The strongest evidence is for other drug classes, beta blockers, BP meds can indirectly cause tendonitis. Let's get to the rest here. So the strongly implicated medications are things like antibiotics, corticosteroids, statins, certain breast cancer therapies cause tendonitis. What else? Blood pressure medication, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers. These are all associated with tendon problems, especially in the feet. So there's a 2023 article noted that patients with Achilles tendonitis rupture often have a history of drugs like beta blockers or calcium channel blockers. And there's another study that hypertensive patients on calcium channel blockers experienced tendonitis as well. Older adults taking blood pressure and cholesterol lowering medication are at risk for tendon inflammation and tendon ruptures. There was an article in Pharmacy Times that commented noting that beta blockers can interfere with the breakdown of defective cell components, triggering immune-mediated inflammatory reaction. Blood pressure meds can be implicated. The evidence is sporadic. So there's some on one side of it, some on the other side of it, which is very common, especially when you have drug companies funding studies. So it's reasonable to have a discussion, to ask about it. Medications with the strongest evidence, again, injected steroids are a big thing, statins. What else did I want to mention about this? Long-term steroid use and long-term statins are something to definitely consider if you're having tendon issues. Putting it all together, so repetitive motion, overuse of tendon, but largely that is due to a biomechanical situation. So we're not taught how to be cognizant of our movements often. So we'll slouch, we don't even realize we're slouching. Why are we slouching? Poor core muscles. Right? But we tend to then blame that on the tendon instead of the whole. There is no spot healing. There's no spot. We don't, just like you don't lose weight in a spot. We wish we could, especially people that have abdominal fat or whatever. It's like, oh, I just need to lose this belly and then I'd be skinny. We don't lose fat in a spot. We don't heal things in a spot. We are synergistic, systemic beings, right? You have to bring the whole thing together. You don't cut out inflammation from the body. Your whole body's creating inflammation. So you have to dial back the assaults on the body that are creating inflammation. So there's no such thing as spot healing, And the same thing, this doesn't, with overuse, it's not because of just, the compartmentalization. It's because your body mechanics, you're not using your whole body to do that repetitive action. So you have to learn how to engage all your muscles when you're doing things. And, so my daughter was dealing with something with her knee last year, which she's never had any knee problems, but come to find out she wasn't really firing her glutes when she was doing this particular movement. And without firing the glutes, all the pressure was getting put on the knee. So of course it's going to start to act up because that's where the burden is. You're putting too much burden. Once she started firing her glutes doing this movement, of course, we did some red light therapy. We took some turmeric for inflammation, some cellular reset. We dumped a whole bunch of anti-inflammatory nutrients into her. Boom. And now when she's doing that movement, she thinks about her glutes, right? And so that's really helped her. She doesn't even have the problem anymore. It's gone. So think about what you might not be engaging in that area, right? What else? Inadequate nutrition. So are you getting the nutrition that you need to feed? So collagen comes to mind with this. It is such an important part of nutrition. We do start to lose it after the age of 25, and all your fascia in your body needs that collagen to remain pliable. And when you don't have collagen, it becomes less pliable, the fascia. And when the fascia is stiffer, it's not able to move, then you're setting yourself up for injury. And it's like, oh, well, when I fell down when I was little, when you fall down when you're little, or you watch a baby fall, it's almost like they bounce, right? They get back up, a few tears or whatever, but they're fine. We fall down when we're older and we're like, oh my gosh, we're almost terrified of it because we feel like we'll probably break every bone in our body. That's because of lack of collagen. We need that collagen to kind of soften the fascia and keep it hydrated. Super, super important. Yeah, we could probably talk about this a little bit more tomorrow because I have a lot more to cover, but that'll get us started. Thanks so much for joining me today, everybody. This has been Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. I'm so glad you joined me. We'll be back tomorrow right here at 3 o'clock.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio, save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. naturallyinspiredradio.com.